Hey Jack, this is a response to your video, Atheists Pissed About Christmas. First, I find it odd that the visual you use in your video is that of a decorated tree, being that according to Jeremiah 10 verses 2 through 5 of your Bible, God is against people cutting down, erecting, and decorating trees to celebrate during the winter solstice. That's probably because at the time it was written, the practice had not yet been stolen from the pagans. Anyway, I'd like to help with your issues over the atheist who put up that billboard saying, "You know it's a myth. This season, celebrate reason." First, you seem confused by the phrase. The point about Christianity being a myth is that the book is full of clearly mythological things that if you were to tell your friends you just witnessed yesterday, odds are they wouldn't believe you. Things like giants or reptiles and burning plants that talk, etc., are things we all know to be highly unlikely in reality. The reason the sign says to celebrate reason is because the claims of Christian faith are simply unreasonable to any educated individual or critical thinker that's not giving the religion a free pass on the standards of logic. Next, you say that there are plenty of atheists who don't mind the religious baggage that comes with the holiday season, including plenty who go to church. You claim that they don't mind this because their atheism doesn't define them, and it's merely a position they take regarding the God question. I estimate a very low percentage of atheists who consider their lack of belief in God to be what defines them. Most of us consider it a common-sense position and don't let it define us any more than we're defined by not believing in leprechauns. And plenty of us have lots of fun on St. Patrick's Day, too, for the record. Just because I don't consider myself defined by atheism doesn't mean I should allow myself to be guilted or pressured by the majority of society or my own family to go to church and pretend to be something I'm not. It's the compliance with the pressures of family and society that the American Atheist Organization is against. You claim that urging people not to go along just to get along sounds dogmatic. I wonder if you would feel the same way if the tables were turned. If 80% of Americans were atheists and the Christians were a disrespected minority, would you feel it was okay that people who really believed in God and wanted to go to church and sat at home with their families because they didn't want to cause a scene among their family and friends by going to church and having to argue the position that most of the country took? Would it be dogmatic to suggest that those isolated Christians who seldom had another Christian in their family to relate to not feel guilty about their belief? What about if, in addition to not going to church, while at home they pretended to not believe, just so their families would respect them? Would you still consider it dogmatic to suggest that those Christians be open and honest with their families and themselves, or would you criticize them for letting their Christianity define them? You also consider the urge to not go along to get along with the majority just to not make waves as anti-theistic, which I really don't understand. It's an urge to not be ashamed of your position on a topic just because your position is unpopular. As for the organization's point that Christianity doesn't own the winter solstice, their point was that people use the winter time as an excuse to celebrate well before Christianity stole the tradition, and that people don't need to be a Christian to enjoy the winter break with their families and friends. Hardly the attitudes of Scrooges, as you called them at the start of your video. Why is it a problem for many atheists that Christianity takes center stage in December? For the same reason that it might bother you or other Christians if there was a month that you had symbols of a religion you didn't believe in shoved in your face and injected into your children's schools, etc. That's what atheists aren't happy about. It's not a war on Christmas. It's a stance against the obnoxious injection of religious dogma into a society that welcomes it with open arms because it comes with presents.